And if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And that's what so many people do. They all just play the same stupid game and they win the same prize. Hey guys, Sabri Suby here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about pursuing difficult things and really falling in love with the boring work. You see, what I've observed in business is that people only really like doing the shiny, sexy things. And they want to do things that kind of give them a dopamine rush and the work that they really enjoy doing. But what I have found throughout, my journey of building businesses is that it's usually the boring work and the stuff that I don't want to do that really gives me the output, and it really helps me break through that next barrier of growth where I've just been like struggling to kind of reach that next level and transcend to that next summit. And it's just about really getting involved in the things that you've been putting off, or the stuff that no one really wants to do. They're the things that are really going to allow you to get an unfair advantage. Because if you're simply doing all of the things that everybody else wants to do, and that's kind of the area in their business that they're naturally gonna gravitate towards and to get strong in. But realistically, the breakthroughs are had by being willing to do all the things that all your competitors aren't willing to do. So some of the activities that they are, it depends on where you are in your business. Like a lot of people that I see, they're like, hey, I don't want to make sales calls anymore. Like I just want to get to a place where I don't need to speak to anybody. And I'll have just everybody else do that, and I don't want to do that. But there's a certain point that you can get to in your business where you can earn the right to do that, but it is not in the beginning. It's not when you're at, single seven figures. It needs to be something that you're really doing, because it's really by falling in love with the boring work that is the thing that allows you to break through that barrier and really get to that next level. Because what I've observed is if you're going to do everything that everybody else and all of your other competitors enjoy doing, everyone's gonna be strong in the one area, right? And because everyone has a bias to do the shiny, sexy stuff, that means that more often than not, most people are all focusing on the same thing. So if you wanna get a different outcome to what everybody else is doing, you have to do something different. Right? And by definition, something different is not what all the shiny, sexy stuff is when you just think about it in simple terms. So the thing that I really encourage you to do is to look at your business and to chase the really difficult things and the really boring things and the laborious tasks that no one really wants to do and always gets the second part of their attention or a minute level of their focus, is to go all in on those things and to bathe in the fire, as I say. Because most of the time, people are doing all those shiny, sexy things just to fit in with the other monkeys, right? And if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And that's what so many people do. They all just play the same stupid game and they win the same prize. So what I found at all the different kind of ascension points in growing my business is it's typically been falling in love with the really boring shit that I don't want to do. That's been the thing that's given me a huge upward trajectory in the growth of my business. And depending on where you are in your business, those activities will be different. Right? So in the beginning, what I see with a lot of business owners is they just want to jump in to start running ads. Like they've been watching YouTube ad tutorials, or they've been buying Facebook ad courses and engaging in all of this nonsense. And they're just like, yeah, I just want to get in there and write these sick headlines and use this ClickFunnels template and create this funnel and put proof on there and do all of these things. Well, guess what? That's what everybody wants to do. And therefore you just blend in with the other monkeys. So realistically, the thing that nobody really wants to do and the thing that people rush over is doing the research and using a strategy that I've talked about endless amounts of times called the Halo strategy, and you can find it on my YouTube channel. And that is being a student of markets and really understanding down to the marrow of your marketplace what are the hopes and dreams, pains and fears, and what's going on in their mind and what's keeping them up at night. You hear me constantly talk about these things because advanced people always do the basics and they do them exceptionally well. And yeah, like going online and reading forums and compiling a Google Doc and taking screenshots of pains and fears, certain vernacular that your market has, and constantly just trudging through the mud, stalking your prospects online to gather intel, to pump your offers up on steroids, is a task that no one really finds enjoyable. And it's a task that they want to kind of just get through as quickly as possible so that they can get to the sexy stuff, the Facebook ads, the YouTube ads, the funnels, the retargeting banners, the targeting, the CBO methods, all the new and shiny things, right? And they're more focused on how to say things than what to say. So that's just like one example of like, okay, well, what's really boring, right? But what's going to pay the most dividends? Research in your marketing, right? The game is won in the research. That's where 80% of the success of any offer is done, right? If you look at the top copywriters in the world, they spend 80% of their time researching, not writing. And the writing almost writes itself because the research is so sound. But that's just what people aren't willing to do. They want to, swipe and deploy direct response copy templates and headlines and do all the sexy stuff. So that's one example. Another example is that usually early on when the founder of the business is doing all the sales, they quickly want to try and optimize to a place where they no longer have to make sales calls anymore. What's more important in the beginning than bringing on clients and bringing in cash and building up your cash reserves? Nothing. Because if you've got cash, you can hire the best people, you can make the best product, you can build a business that is going to sustain all of those things. But without customers, you can't do that. Therefore, no one wants to make 1,000 sales calls, right? But that's what you need to do. You need to speak to the tire kickers, to the price shoppers. You need to call the people that are ghosting you. You need to follow up on them a minimum of 12 times. You need to stay on it. You need to be on the front lines in the cold face, getting your teeth kicked in, day out there getting bruised up in the marketplace to actually figure out what it is that you need to write in your ads and in your funnels and in your VSLs and what type of offer that you should have and the guarantee and everything. Because you understand, your fingers on the pulse, if your market so much as blinks, you hear it. And the only way that you know that is by doing all of these things. The things that are going to be boring in the beginning, they're going to change over the course of your business, right? And as you kind of transcend and you become, a different kind of leader that's going to be able to lead the organization that you've built over the last year and then over the next year and then over the next year after that. It might be, you might get to a point where you've kind of done all of that, you've been in the trenches, you've earned your stripes, you've cut your teeth, and now you're on to the next thing. Then the next thing that people will typically want to do once they build a team and they've got enough cash reserves is they want to go out and start buying stupid shit, right? And just like getting on the hedonist treadmill, rewarding themselves, going out there, taking, just holidaying all the time, buying themselves stupid things, and that's it, right? And then over the course of the next 12 to 18 months, their business deteriorates, a whole bunch of their team leaves, and then they're back at square one. And that's like a vicious cycle that plagues a lot of people. And let's just say that they don't go down that road, but they might want to focus on, just creating YouTube content or videos or building out more funnels or launching more products and services or whatever it might be, instead of doing something like becoming a master of the financials of your business and just sitting there and staring at P&L statements and understanding payback periods and cash reserves and free flow cash flow and like all of the things that you really need to understand as a business to really get an unfair advantage. Like, who wants to sit down unless you've got a mathematical mind and look at P&L statements and look at cost structures and line items and understanding all of these things in forensic detail? Like, no one, because it's boring work. But understanding those things give you an unfair advantage, because if you really understand your costs and optimizing them, and you understand your gross profit margins and your net profit margins, and you understand your free cash flow, and you understand your payback period, you understand the true ROI and how to allocate capital within your business for the best results and compounding interest, then you can afford to spend more money to acquire a customer. You invest more money in ads, you reach more prospects, you take more market share because you have more market share and you have more customers and more revenue generating you more profit. You can hire the best people and pay them what they need. And then you can create better products so that you can then go spend more money on marketing. Do you see how the cycle kind of unfolds? And that's the reason why the boring work is the thing that really pays the dividends. And pursuing things that not are like only boring, but that are also really complex and that are very, very difficult, and that don't like, it's not something like where you spend a day and you come up with a solution. It's something that you need to sit in the depths of mastery, understanding and thinking, and going for walks and meditating and thinking about these things really profoundly. Because the other thing that you really want to do is spend way more time thinking than reading, and way more time thinking than consuming and having more inputs into your brain. People are overstimulated. There's way too many inputs coming in, right? And usually there's too many inputs coming into them that they don't have enough time to have enough outputs and to put out enough products or put out enough content or to be a producer. A really, really good way to kind of solve complex problems is just to spend a lot more time thinking about those problems. And that sounds very elementary, but it's very profound. And for me, like, I got into a stage of my business where in the beginning, it's like you're pushing and you're shoving and you're scratching and everything, you're measuring every single unit of time and you're looking at the output of that. And you're a very, very productive person, because that's the kind of person that you need to be to get a business to $1 million plus. And then, you get more growth. And you might get to, $5 or $7 million, and you're still like producing a lot. You're really hands-on, you're really with the team, you're still doing a lot of the marketing, some of the sales, all of that kind of stuff. And then you get to a point where you need to, if you continue to do the same things that you continue to do, you stay in the same place. And you need to start chasing bigger problems and more complex problems. And in order to solve complex problems, you need to spend a lot of time thinking about them and understanding them profoundly on a very, very deep level. And when you do that, you think, I'm not being productive because I'm spending a lot of time thinking and not a lot of the time doing. But that is just a part of the ascension point. You really want to be sitting around thinking on the plays that you're going to make for 80% of your time, and then playing those hands 20% of the time. Because it's not about making thousands of right decisions every day. It's about making 2 or 3 very, very big decisions a year and making sure that you're right on those decisions. And it can be a trap, because when you spend the time meditating and thinking about these things, you're not producing work. You're not getting an output. But those decisions are profoundly important to the trajectory of your company. And it's not something that you can just make on a quick whim like that. Because everything great takes time. So don't work in a hurry and just try to hustle and bustle through things. Take the time and go deep, really deep into the details, and be okay with going really deep into the details, rendering some work, letting the paint dry on it, revisiting it, putting another coat of paint on it, thinking about it, go for a walk, meditate on it, think about how you could strip it back and even make it more simple. Some more tactical ways that I've found to create structures for you to win long term, because, It is difficult to do this work, and it's difficult to spend the time thinking about doing this, but it is highly rewarding. And the thing that's really important to understand is that inspiration is perishable. Like, it comes and it goes. And if you're relying off inspiration to be an effective entrepreneur and a business builder, you are going to be riding a violent whirlwind and roller coaster of emotions, of peaks and troughs, of you getting success, not getting success, because you're relying off something that is perishable, like inspiration. Where the best thing to do is to create routines and disciplines and structures for you to be able to conduct this work. So scheduling time out to think, right? Like, it's a far out concept, but it is incredibly important, especially in today's day and age. Whether you put something in the calendar a couple of times of a week to go for a walk. Walks are like moving meditation, and it allows your brain to render things, to think about things. And don't listen to an audio book or a podcast or any of that kind of stuff. Just go out in nature and think and ponder on the problems that you're trying to solve right now. Or it might be meditation for you, or it might be yoga, or whatever it might be, but schedule time in where you can actually just think about the really complex problems that you're trying to solve, because all greatness comes from struggle. And it's not gonna be easy to solve these problems and to chase these difficult things and to fall in love with the boring work. But over the course of your life, these are the things that are going to pay the most dividends for you, and you're going to get the most interest from these things. Your ability to think cleanly and to be a clean thinker is really going to determine so much of how successful you are, quote unquote, right? And when I say successful, it's just you're setting your mind on achieving a target or a goal, and how successful that you are in reaching that, whatever that may look like for yourself. And the way that you're going to do that is by falling in love with the boring work and just trudging through the mud, knee-high mud in gumboots, stalking your goals and being willing to go through and do all the work that everybody else in your market is unwilling to do. I hope this message serves you. Hey guys, if you're enjoying these videos, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell button, as we're dropping a video like this every other day on YouTube. And if you've got any questions, just leave a comment below with hashtag HeySabri, and I will do my best to get to it.